Previously on Spacepals. Commander, Director, we have a problem. What's going on? An outbreak has occurred out of the Zeta Quadrant, coming from the Zeta Quadrant, Director. It's spreading towards, shards of it is spreading towards every single corner of the galaxy, including ours. We're losing people. We're getting people showing signs of a virus, who has the virus. I want everybody back here. We're going on lockdown. Sir, Joe, how are things going? You and Kit doing it there? Have we found this? Have we found the planet yet? No. Unfortunately, this is uncharted area, Commander. More this part of the charted area. I'm pretty sure this is close to the Zeta Quadrant, Commander. All we know about the Zybo Quadrant is that it's close to the other quadrant, the Zeta. Understand? Well, we need to look for that planet. Keep searching. Understood, Commander. So, how are things in engineering, Bendy? The crew doesn't. These new crew members brought aboard, that Jack brought aboard. I don't trust them, Commander. I'm telling you, something's not right. I know. Probably will ask someone later. They're part of our crew, Bendy. We have to trust them. I don't like this. Hey, Boris. Hey, Boris. I know that we have to do a video right now, but I need to talk to the commander for a minute, my friend. Can you do a reaction for it? Can you do a reaction? I think it's time for the Fallout series again. Alright. I can do that for you, buddy. Thanks, Boris. You're a pal. No problem. Hi, everyone. I'm Boris. Welcome back. Today we're going to be reacting to the second episode of the Fallout Storyteller series. Looks like we're about to be moving on to something unusual in science, but it's before mutants. Oh, I have my share of those with me, the ink machine. But hey, let's get started with that. Link will be in the description down below. Enjoy it, everyone. Let's get started. Cambot. 3, 2, 1.
You've experienced the Fallout series in your own way, but want to learn more about its story. Well, to get to the heart of the story, you have to go back to the beginning.
Fallout. The lore series. By Shottycast. Ooh, what's this time? Chapter 2. Oh, the super mutants. Oh boy.
Vault-Tec presents
wow.
tomorrow's technology today.
Oh, Vault-Tec, we ever since
Vault-Tec, we're more than just America's first choice in vault technology.
Oh,
thanks to military science, we're also your first choice in personal
those robots can be
defense.
deadly.
Upon leaving the vault, you may find your neighbors on the surface have changed a lot while you were away. Little Sally Sue, for instance, is gone. And in her place, we see Mr. Scary.
Oh no, those
Mr.
things.
Scary is not our friend. Here at Vault-Tec, your safety is our #1 concern. So we're here to help any post-nuclear nuisance go away. Introducing the Mutant Blaster R88.
That's
the latest
useful.
in mutation-removing technology. Simply point this patented device in the direction of the threat, pull the easy-to-use trigger, and watch
that
as
will be
Mr.
useful.
Scary goes away.
That will be useful.
Forever. Results may vary.
Oh dear.
When the Great War annihilated civilization, the survivors lost their loved ones, their homes, and their worldly goods. They endured a daily search for food, water, and medicine. They also had to seek out their lost identities. People have always defined themselves by the work they do, the place they live, the things they own. In the Great War, it wasn't just buildings that were destroyed. Entire cultures were erased from history. In the brutal years that followed, the survivors had to define themselves again, find meaning in their existence, or face a metaphorical loss of their humanity. But a much more literal threat to their humanity was already in place, waiting quietly beneath the desert for someone to stumble across it. Someone did, nearly a century after the war, and that threat came closer to extinguishing humanity than all the bombs and guns of the old wars.
Oh, the mutants.
A single neutron passing through a strand of DNA can cause a cancerous tumor, but a lifetime of exposure to unprecedented amounts of atomic fallout will have wildly unpredictable results. After a few generations of passing on this defective DNA, a species will begin to mutate. That explains many of the strange beasts running around the wasteland, but not all of them. There's a different strain of mutant out there. They're shaped like men, but bigger. Some of them are more dangerous than Deathclaws, stronger than a man in power armor. They call themselves super mutants.
Oh dear.
They're not the result of random contact with radiation, but rather a deliberate act of genetic tampering.
The
Tapes
Enclave.
unearthed in pre-war military
those are
installations show
the
that the
worst
United
scum in the
States
Fallout
government
universe.
started out with good intentions. Rival nations had attacked America with biological weapons, resulting in a new plague, so America's leaders created their own defensive virus. The plan, originally, was to make a germ that would mutate America's population just enough that they would become immune to the viruses that the enemy might use. In a sense, this forced evolutionary virus worked, but the effects were much more drastic than anticipated. The animal test subjects mutated by it were not only resistant to common biological weapons, they also grew stronger and more intelligent, but monstrously deformed. In Maryland, the virus was placed in a Vault-Tec vault and used as part of their cruel experiments. According to files recovered from a Vault-Tec mainframe, the people who took shelter in that vault were exposed to the virus by their own overseer, the very man assigned to protect them after the bombs fell. After escaping the war, these people suffered even worse than those
secretly
trapped on
and
the surface.
the villain.
The mutation process is
secret
painful,
villains.
and most people exposed to the virus die a horrible death in a body they don't even recognize as their own. Those who do survive often wish they hadn't, because their very humanity is taken from them. Whatever they look like before mutating, they transform into an enormous, bald, green brute. That sudden loss of identity would enrage almost anyone. Maybe with enough therapy, a person could come to terms with their new body. But most of the poor creatures suffered from another side effect: reduced cognitive capability. Despite the virus's potential to increase intelligence in some people, most of the super mutants on the East Coast were just plain stupid. In fact, many of their brains were too small to perform even basic autonomic functions like breathing. For those that survived, there were some positive trade-offs. Their strength increased tremendously, as did their size. Even the small ones are nearly 10 feet tall. In the capital wasteland, these beasts continue growing throughout their existence. Wanderers have reported fighting super mutants that are 15 feet tall, and foolhardy adventurers have pumped hundreds of bullets from assault rifles into mutant overlords without bringing them down. Scouts from the Brotherhood of Steel even
takes a lot of bullets to take them down.
And can survive
those
a
are
direct
like
hit
tanks.
from a mini nuke. The only factor that keeps them in check is that they are infertile and cannot reproduce. At least not the way that they did when they were still human. The first mutants created in that horrid vault might not have been as intelligent as the humans who created them, but they had strength and righteous fury on their side. The mutants turned on their creators and transformed them into the next generation
what happens
of super
when you
mutants.
screw with
In time,
science?
the vault was nothing but mutants, alone, undying, just intelligent enough to know that they had been betrayed by humanity. Forcibly stripped of their humanity, robbed of their ability to reason, and transformed into massive brutes, they were an angry horde trapped inside a vault. Rage and boredom are an unstable mixture, and eventually that vault burst. Hundreds of super mutants emerged into a wasteland where their enhanced physical abilities made them better suited to survive than the humans around them. The disorganized humans had only one advantage, and that was their numerical superiority. Outnumbered and unable to breed, the mutants were still cunning enough to understand that they had to boost their ranks by kidnapping humans and exposing them to the virus. Further west, things were more complicated. California and the West Coast had their share of trouble with super mutants. But those mutants, they didn't just suddenly pop out of a vault and rampage like mindless savages. The mutants of the Wasteland's core region were the result of a misguided plan to set the world right. The mutant army was smart enough to scour the lands for new humans to mutate and to select people with little exposure to radiation. Using humans with DNA undamaged by radioactivity meant they were more likely to keep their intelligence after mutating. The size and capability of this inhuman swarm grew, always hungry for the purest human DNA to serve as the building blocks of a master race. This was before the new California Republic had solidified, before the Enclave chose to reveal itself, back when the Brotherhood of Steel kept their technology closely guarded. There was nothing to stand against an army with such organization, such single-mindedness, such unity. Who they had been before no longer mattered. The super mutants weren't divided by old-world notions of race. They did not bicker over religious beliefs, for they all worshipped the same dark god and claimed that they could hear his voice in their heads. Did this dark god exist? Were the mutants led by some cunning mutant general? Could the master race have a master of its own? Someone or something was certainly behind this new unity movement. No doubt, through much trial and error, this dark god created generations of flawed beasts before finally discovering that the FEV works most effectively on people who have low levels of radiation exposure. Access to pre-war computers revealed that the Wasteland held secret communities of uncontaminated vault dwellers whose gene pools had been protected for generations deep beneath the earth where the radioactive fallout couldn't reach them. It's ironic that the super mutant master was done in by the actions of one of these vault dwellers. Regardless of how it happened, with their master gone, the mutant army scattered. The former elite guard of the mutant army have taken the fall of their master the hardest and have become an unpredictable menace. These nightkin, as they call themselves, were once the best of their species, augmenting their strength and cunning with pre-war stealth technology. They're usually still in possession of the rare stealth boy devices and use them without concern for the harmful effects of prolonged exposure. After decades of constant use, their minds have degenerated and their skin is darkened to a distinctive gray. They're plagued by hallucinations and imaginary friends. Often their jabbering is the only sign that one is nearby, due to their tendency to appear in unexpected places and engage in bizarre behavior. A single nightkin can be more dangerous than a group of their green-skinned brethren. Some super mutants have formed their own communities, following charismatic leaders across the wasteland. Turn a radio to the right frequency in the right parts of Nevada, and there is a broadcast coming from a mutant girl who thinks she can take the master's place and guide the mutants to a new utopia. Although she has gathered many followers, her mental instability assures that this is unlikely. Some wanderers even speak of outright friendly super mutant companions who accompany them as friends and equals. Given their resilience and long lives, these benevolent creatures could still be out there looking for new adventures and traveling companions. A few diverse communities consisting of humans, ghouls, and mutants alike have popped up, at least for a time. Despite the best efforts to get along, it seems that differences will always reduce people to fighting among themselves. Perhaps that dark god was right. What the Wasteland really needs is more unity. If the super mutants do ever form another army, they're likely to find the Wasteland a little more of a challenge this time around. Since their master fell, the world has become a more crowded place, and there are other, better-equipped factions of humanity, ready to challenge any newcomers for the spoils of the old world. But that is a story for another day.
Well, that's next time. So we're about to go into the two factions next. Well, guys, I thought this was a good episode taking on the lore about the super mutants. Wow, that was awesome. Oh, sorry if my ear's been back, or it's just I've been just doing some experience or something with all this. Anyway, guys, Guys, that's going to be it for today. If you liked today's video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Oh, and by the way, this channel shout out will don't forget this week's channel shout out goes out to Lounge V for please support their channel because they bring about a lot of peaceful scenery and music when you tune into their channel. Well, guys, that's it. I'll see you guys next time. This is your friendly Boris, friendly friend Boris, saying goodbye. Bye bye. How are things going? Going, guys. Good. I'm gonna be in engineering if you guys need me. All right. All right then. I'll join you soon. Okay. All right. Sir, we got a communication from the bridge. Open the patch. What is it, engineering? What is it, engineering? This is Kiwi here. We need you to drop us off at these coordinates. What coordinates do you want? What do you mean? Something has come up, Commander. We'll explain once you take us to these coordinates. It's a nearby warp gate station. We need you to take us there. Sorry, someone's come up, Commander. Someone's come up, Commander. You need to take us to the...